Chubby Cats, episode 4. I am your host, Tom, and as always, I'm joined by my two brethren-in-arms, if they want to give themselves a little shout-out.
Ooh. Wow, rude.
Ooh.
And this is Sterling, who was just interrupted by a Red Bull can.
Oh my god, it's late, and I just need the energy.
And I'm Jason.
Yes. Like I said, welcome to episode 4 of Chubby Cats. You've made it through episodes 1 through 3, and if this is your first introductory episode, welcome, and thank you for downloading and giving us a listen. Oh my god.
Oscar, this is a bad place for you.
We just, can we just not... So the fun thing about filming this podcast is, I don't want to say it's a janky setup, pretty much.
We're janky. That's a good term.
Yeah, I was trying to be political about it. But yeah, every time we set up this setup, it just gets it gets more roomier for us because we're three pretty beefy dudes. So we normally have to sit pretty close around this.
Robust and or burly.
Yeah. And we sit around this one mic because student loans. And but yeah, every time we set this up, it just looks... I have to take a picture and I'll post it on our website because it's pretty hilarious.
Well, none of that. So, your house, we were swarming with cats.
Cats, so many
cats.
Last
podcast, we were swarming with fucking airplanes. So we learned, we're at my house again, but we're now doing this one later.
Late at night.
Because we said, okay, that's fine. Doing it around 6 o'clock was a terrible plan.
Yeah. Now it's 10,
so we're doing it 10
o'clock at night.
Almost 11.
And
definitely less air traffic, but now my dogs are roaming around, and I have 2 dogs, and they're all over because we're the only cool thing happening. My wife's gone to bed, and so we're the adventure and the action, and my dogs want to be on that.
Yeah, and I'll be honest, it sounds like the other cool thing going on is your dog's penis, because I think he's pleasuring himself mightily.
He just licks
insistently.
Yep.
Just going to town.
Yeah. And then also we got these chairs from Costco, wholesale, and they're probably the loudest fucking chairs we could have picked to sit in to do this podcast.
But my God, they are comfortable.
They are super comfortable, people.
Comfort is key.
Do you hear that?
Because we do.
Because I do.
Especially Thomas.
What a riveting segment of the podcast.
Oh, God.
Thomas rubbing the chair.
Wait, you guys, wait. It's sounds that you go to sleep with, like white noise. I'm just give me 10 seconds of white noise.
That's infuriating.
That shit
is by no way soothing.
You listen to that shit on repeat and you'll be in sleep like that.
I don't think so.
I think that's how it works. I mean, I did take a semester of psychology.
Oscar, please stop.
He's gonna lick his dick all night. You can't.
There's no stopping.
There's no
Can't stop, won't stop.
He always goes around my expensive shit.
He does.
There was literally every
from
time he tries to force himself into where my stuff is, and he always fucks up my shit. My Xbox One.
Well, he respects me.
He ate my fucking pizza.
He did. He ate pizza.
That was on
a whole pizza.
So, side note, we'll talk about my dog for a minute and the insanity. So he's a Basset Hound. For those of you guys that are familiar with the breed, he does a lot of the normal, Basset Hound weirdness. But I'm also convinced that he can fly. Because he reaches food literally anywhere. For those of you not super familiar with the breed, he's a small to medium-sized dog. They're really dense and heavy. But he is only 2 feet off the ground. They're kind of long. But he got stubby little legs and big-ass ears. And...
Yeah?
Sorry, my wife texted me. Apparently somebody fucked up a charger. Probably when the TV fell. It bent the shit out of the iPhone charger.
Oh.
Wait, where was the iPhone charger at, though?
It was plugged into the fan that was next to the TV.
That would do it.
That will do it. Sorry for the segue. So anyways, my dog is notorious for eating food that has been placed where we think he won't get to it. And one time Thomas ate 1 piece of pizza and Oscar had the rest because he had the audacity to go to 7-Eleven.
To get bevs to enjoy our delicious
pizza. Yeah, because we were thirsty from the pizza. All right, I'll be right back. I'm going to go try to find another replacement plug-in.
Pluggy?
There's one in my.
If you check my box right here, man. Actually, she's have this one.
I know where there are some.
Okay.
I need to grab one.
So, what have you been up to, man?
Not a whole lot.
Wow.
And I spend my days healing, and that means just laying around a lot.
This is the
More
most
or less
riveting segment
insane.
ever.
Yeah.
Are you just saying that since Jason left the room that we can't continue a conversation on our
Well,
own?
what were we? We were talking about his dogs.
We're talking about his dog. Let's continue. I fucking hate his dog. His dog smells. It eats my shit.
High heaven.
It breaks my shit. And he's always in my shit.
And he's loud as fuck.
He is loud. He's a basset hound. And also,
it's
fun fact, basset hounds, only dog I'm allergic to.
yeah.
I don't know why. That and bunny rabbits.
Yeah, rabbits. I forgot about that.
Yeah, the one time I've been around bunny rabbits my entire life. But for some reason, Sterling, you got a bunny because you went through a stage where you just got bunnies after bunnies.
It's a lifelong thing. I've always wanted a rabbit as a pet. They die frequently in this climate.
Oh my god. And now Jason and Selena are being super loud. Fucking dicks. But yeah. But, I mean, bunny rabbit, what are you going to do when you see bunny rabbit? You're going to rub your face in it and fucking cuddle the shit out of that bunny rabbit.
Why are we talking about rabbits?
Because I was telling you I'm allergic to Oscar. And how I'm allergic to bunny rabbits.
Very.
And about maybe 30 minutes later, all of a sudden I was like, hey man, my face is pretty itchy and I was like audibly wheezing. Like I was having trouble breathing. And Sterling being an EMT was kind of like, yeah man, you're having an allergic reaction. Probably to the rabbit. And I was like,
especially as his eyes started to swell shut. And he started to visibly full tears and complete nasal drainage. It was pretty gnarly looking. Like,
it was intense.
On the subject of pets and rabbits,
must be.
I wasn't going to go into anything, like, depressing.
Okay.
But I was going to talk about your feral rabbit.
Oh, good God, yes. Forgot about that.
Was that charcoal?
Was it charcoal?
Charcoal was to an extent, but then there was also that black and white.
No, that was one you got two.
I got two.
From a friend of ours from high school she was moving and couldn't keep them, and she knew Sterling had rabbits and liked
But she
rabbits.
didn't know he didn't have successful rabbits.
No success.
No successful rabbits. The Lord knows he tried. The love was there. But so
everything.
one got out and basically lived as a feral bunny underneath their patio, like a pergola.
Mm-hmm.
Is what it's called?
Yeah, pergola
underneath the
and
pergola
and deck.
Yeah. And it just sort of it would emerge every now and then to hiss and attack.
Yeah.
Are we picking up the TV?
Oh fuck yeah.
Cool.
I don't know if you've seen Monty Python, The Holy Grail. Think something along those lines, except without the flight. Though the jumps the hops were there.
Yeah.
But, very much feral, very much hissing and attacking, rearing back, and bearing fang.
It's like that movie White Man Can't Jump, but instead bunnies can jump.
Bunnies do jump.
Bunnies do jump, yeah.
Jump and attack and all that good stuff.
So, not really anything like White Man Can't Jump. But,
Was that... Oh my god, who was in that movie? Was that fucking... The one dude, Wesley Snipes? Was that Wesley Snipes?
Wesley Snipes in it? Yeah.
Wesley Snipes and not Woody Allen.
From Zombieland, same guy. That's Woody Allen.
Yeah, it's Woody Allen.
Yeah,
His
it's
name's
Woody Allen. Yeah.
I was like,
Wait.
Woody Allen? It's not Woody Allen. It's... What's his name? It's...
Woody Harrelson?
Woody Harrelson.
Harrelson.
Woody Harrison. Thank you. I was like, Woody Allen?
Harrelson? Or Harrison?
Harrison. Woody Harrison.
Harrelson, right?
Yeah.
God, we're awful.
Yeah.
We're sorry.
Tallahassee.
Tallahassee. I just knew Woody Allen was not right. I was like, Woody Allen is the esteemed filmmaker.
Woody Allen.
Also pedophilic.
It's his stepdaughter, right?
Still pedophilic. Just because it's stepdaughter doesn't mean it's not right. He raised her from birth.
All right,
to
cool.
be his wife.
You know what? I'm really happy this is coming up because we're about to go down this rabbit hole. Ready?
Again?
because we've talked about rabbit holes.
Yeah, I know.
And
That's
now-
what I always say. Because we always go down the rabbit hole.
You got, sometimes
I think that's become a segment.
Sometimes my brain just goes off in places, and you just got to take it. You got to go down there, and you gotta follow the white rabbit to Wonderland.
God, here's the South.
Yeah, and it's really funny that I picked that accent because the topic I want to talk about, speaking of incestual, is there's a weird trend right now in porn. You guys watch porn, right?
As a community, as a community,
As a community, porn is a thing, and if you say you don't watch porn, I mean you're either lying or you're religious, which is understandable.
I don't really understand, but yeah.
Yeah, it's a choice. But there's this weird thing going on right now in porn. If you look at like the titles, and it's like brother does sister, or mom does stepson, or stepson.
Mom and son.
Yeah, mom and son,
really
or like a lot of like brother does stepsister.
Yeah.
And like it's like weird. And like, I mean, I know it's fake, but like I don't click on them just because the pure idea of the like that storyline just makes me like a loose earthworm. Like I'm like I do not want that. I don't want that in my history. I don't want like future job employers for the like NSA to be like, what the fuck was this guy looking up? Like I want them to be like, oh, this guy's looking at some crazy Latin hang glider porn rather than looking at like weird fake ancestral porn.
Nothing but missionary? He checks out.
He checks out.
Yeah, it is kind of a weird trend. I kind of wish we had someone here who could like chime in on the topic of the matter, like why has this become a trend? I have to attribute it to just that it's that taboo stage. So it's getting people's rocks off a little bit more because it's
like
that
oh
forbidden
shit
thing. Yeah,
that's crazy.
Because for the seeming longest time it's always about the interracial, and of course it's always more often than not like the little white girl getting taken to Pound Town by the biggest African American gentleman they could find. And
it's becoming desensitized.
Yeah,
no one cares.
That's no big deal anymore.
Well, great, it's 2016.
Yeah,
white women can fuck.
But do I?
Like, that's
But cut to 2018. Do I really want people to be desensitized to incest? Like,
you can just do mom. That's fine.
I don't think I want that to happen. Like,
but that's why they're doing it. I don't know if it'll catch on and become normal, but there's no shock value to the interracial thing anymore.
Yeah. I mean, every once in a while they'll show like a African American girl getting pounded by like 3 white guys. And
I guess I won't say no shock value.
Is that the equivalent of one black guy doing a white girl? You have to get at least 3 white guys to do one black girl.
Again, I don't know industry standards, but that kind of seems like it's probably the correct trade-off.
I would love to pick the mind of someone in the industry. So if you're in the industry and want to be a guest on this podcast, please email us at chubbycatinc@gmail.com, and we will have you on the show, and we will pick the shit out of your mind because I'm interested.
We just want to understand.
I just want to understand, and like
the trends,
and
everything.
Yeah, the trends are totally interesting, and like even the filmmaking aspect of it. Like it's filmmaking, it's storytelling. Yeah, like you just happen to see penetration,
And you also happen to sometimes feel that penetration, depending on your role.
Yeah, on your role. But yeah, it's one of those things that like, you always make the joke of like, oh, I could always fall back on porn if I don't make it. But that's not really a joke. Like, the porn industry makes some fucking money, dude. Like,
you can always fall back on real filmmaking if you don't make it in porn.
Yeah, like that's. I think that's how it should be said. Like
that seems tougher.
That seems way tougher. Which is funny.
Industry standards really high. Hollywood just below it, just right below here.
I mean, we were
somewhat
watching
higher budget.
A god awful made for TV movie today. We made it like 30 minutes in.
30 minutes.
It was called. I keep messing it up. It's Dino Croc versus Super Gator.
Yeah, that's it.
I keep swapping which one is which, but the movie starts out, and first of all, I think the cast was like, we agreed, probably like 65% like softcore porn, like actors who were just like had some free time.
Yeah,
but it starts out and it's just like a woman in like a lab coat who's like looking at a panel of like glowing lights and machinery, and all of a sudden she just screams like, "Everybody run!" And 15 seconds in the movie, they're just like, they all go running outside into like a dirt yard, and then a giant super alligator comes chasing them and starts eating people, and about a minute after that, the Dino Croc busts out and eats more people, and they go their separate ways. And that is it. Like, the first 2 minutes of the movie, there's no preamble. It's just like...
That's the hook?
That's
yeah.
Like,
they're like,
there's no build-up. It's
run,
like...
they escaped. Like, that was it. We were in.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, I mean, I would watch that movie. But, like,
We
yeah.
tried.
We tried. We really
God
did.
knows we tried.
But it really does, like, beg to differ. Because, I mean, as a threesome, as a trio... Sorry, threesome.
Really on that porn movie.
Yeah.
Really,
Still.
my
Seriously, bro.
head is deep in that hole right now.
Oh, wow.
But yeah, we watch a lot of bad movies.
Yeah, we
Yeah.
really do.
A lot of bad zombie movies, a lot of bad horror movies.
I think probably more zombie
More
than
zombie
anything
movies. I
else.
think that's like
Yeah.
our niche.
My
But
God.
yeah, like there's a lot of movies out there that get made and like no continuity, like and like the shitty thing about these movies is like being in an industry, I know how many steps it goes to from conceiving an idea to distributing a DVD. Like there's so many people that have a hand in changing and like noticing something's bad, but like when the final product comes out and you're like, this is what got made. Like,
Yeah.
I could write something better in a weekend. Like,
Yeah, it wasn't like 3 teenagers got into a room and were like, "Oh, we're gonna make this," and then did it like over the weekend. Like,
Yeah.
they spent months on this. They got approved.
Yeah.
There were producers.
there was permits, there was
editing.
actors. Like, yeah, like you can tell
Someone
because-
came up with a rather large budget in which everyone managed to get paid. Food was supplied to everyone. Security
Yeah.
to make sure nothing happened.
trailer CGI. Like, yeah, there was steps taken. Like, there's a difference between exactly what you're saying. Like someone who went out with a camera and made like a good indie film, and someone who went out and like got a piece of shit made, and you're just like, how though? Like, because there's those movies that are like blatantly made to be bad because that's like the niche that they're
Yeah.
trying to go for. Like you have like Thanksgiving and stuff like that and Rubber.
Wonderfully awful.
Yeah,
Wonderfully
where you're just
awful.
like you watch it and you know it's gonna be horrible, but they also are kind of in on the joke. But then there's movies that are like horrible.
They did their best.
and they did their best, and they're not in on the joke. They think they fucking made it.
They nailed it.
Yeah, and then you get like weird people that like star in it, and you're like, why are you doing with your career? Why are you in this?
A lot of Baldwins, to be honest
Yeah,
with you.
Baldwins are fucking everywhere.
yeah.
How many Baldwin
Nick
brothers
Cannon.
are there?
Nick Cannon, yeah.
He shows up in some,
Every now and again.
just often enough that you're like, oh, you're still at that. Huh?
Peoples whose stars kind of faded a little bit definitely show up in those. I mean, the guy from Starship Troopers, I think that's pretty much all he has.
Yeah, Casper, dude.
Yeah.
I saw that guy like 7 times at Comic-Con, just still talking about Starship Troopers. Like,
Hey man, you just gotta keep living.
he
that
and he
dream.
has
Still
that,
ripped.
he has that Rangers tattoo on his arm. Like it's
Oh my
real,
God.
it's there.
Actual mobile infantry tattoo, he has
Yeah,
that.
but I've been
That's
working
fantastic.
Comic-Con now since like 2011, 2010, and I think every year I've worked, I've seen him and done an interview around him or with him, and it's always on Starship Troopers. It's always on the like comic book or the animated series or.
Well, they
That
keep
guy-
making fucking movies,
that
dude.
There's
There's been another like 3 to 4 movies that have come out about
That's
Starship
crazy.
Troopers.
Like, at what point, like, how much more nude do you have to show? Because, like, there was progressive of nudity in the
Oh,
first 3
yeah.
movies. The first movie, you got some boobs,
You did.
Great,
which was
great boobs.
sick. Those
Yeah,
boobs were...
at the age that movie came out,
Oh yeah.
that was like the holy grail. That
Yeah.
was the best thing I think I'd ever seen.
like, on par with, like, Titanic boob scene.
yeah.
I honestly don't recall a lot. I
You
mean,
really
I saw
don't
it
remember?
once, and it just, it wasn't. I remember there being like, oh, there's nudity, but
In
it-
Starship Troopers or
No,
Titanic?
Titanic.
Oh,
Yeah.
I saw it once, and I was like, what?
Dude,
this is
Titanic.
cool, but-
Second VHS tape, 20 minutes and 51 seconds in.
Bravo.
Jeez.
I'm
Like,
actually
had
thoroughly
that nailed.
impressed with
Like,
that.
I remember those boobs.
I want
Those are not even that great. Yeah.
I want to sidetrack for just a second when we're on the topic.
Boobs?
Yes.
Okay.
Specifically, like VHS boobs.
Okay.
Oh, God.
What was what was your first moment of like, oh shit, where you found like that movie, right? That you're
Uh-huh.
like, For me, it was Stripes. I don't know if you guys ever saw
Fucking
Oh,
Stripes
yeah.
and Bill Murray.
Stripes.
Fuck
Bill
yeah,
Murray.
Stripes.
Great movie, right?
Yeah.
But the women's shower scene, I was like, damn, this is hot.
Yeah.
You know, and that was like that one of those first things where I was like, shit,
Yeah.
like we own this movie. I can just
I can watch
put this
boobs
in,
all the time.
Yeah, I just put this in my VCR. And every time I want to see boobs, like this is awesome.
Yeah.
Like, what was it for you guys?
I remember mine was my first rated R movie, Trading Spaces, with Eddie Murphy. The scene with what the fuck's her last name? Not Julia. She's in Freaky Friday with Lindsay Lohan. Wow, second podcast I brought up Lindsay Lohan.
Yeah, seriously. Wait.
What's her name?
Really?
What's her name?
I'm giving you a moment here. Really?
Yeah, I'm blanking. What's her name? Give me her name.
God. Come on, the Scream Queen. Prom Night? We're just throwing out movies.
I know what she's in. I just can't remember her name. Like, you...
Halloween?
Yeah, please, tell me.
You're not helping.
Like, yeah, fucking, I know what she's in, dude. I'm not like...
Kind of like the guy from fucking Target or whatever.
Jamie Lee Fisher.
Jamie Lee Fisher, thank you. Like, you guys...
We don't have any of those. You can check on Amazon.
Yeah.
Or Best Buy.
Well, I was hoping you would... Jamie Lee, she's one of the biggest cult pop star scary movies. Only one not to really show her boobs. Come on.
Yeah, man.
I'm dropped the name.
I'm great.
Sorry,
but I'm great with like, oh, that person was in this, and this. But
man.
I'm horrible with names. But anyways, you see her boobies in Trading Spaces, and there were good boobies. And I was like, wow, we fucking own this movie. Only awkward thing though is, and this is gonna be a side tangent, so we'll have to come back to your first boob set.
Wow.
I know we're like
double side
we're like
tangents.
fucking inceptioning our inception of
We
our
are.
inception.
Please get to your point.
Okay. Saw that movie with my dad. My dad was like, "Yeah, no, we're gonna watch this movie," and I was like, "Okay, cool." And saw boobs with my dad. And I was like, "Oh man!" But that brings up sex scenes.
Yeah.
With your parents as a child, like specifically
awkward.
like your dad, like just hanging out with your dad and watching a movie late at night with the lights off, and all of a sudden like a sex scene comes on.
Right. Try not to be like too interested.
Yeah, you gotta be like
creepy.
You gotta be interested enough to be like,
But
oh my kid's cool, he's into this.
Yeah, you don't
but
want
also,
to be like worried that like you're asexual. Like,
yeah, but then you also like can't like you end up like talking about good scene.
Yeah.
like you always have to.
How do you respond?
You always
right?
feel like you have to like.
Really, that was never an issue. For
or like
me,
you
but...
like look over at them to see if they're looking at you, and you're like, no man, they're just watching a fucking movie. Like, but at the same time, you're like, man, this is weird. I don't like this. But yeah, that was it.
I've never had that kind of issue, but yeah, yeah, that's different.
It is. It's just like.
I mean, it's an interesting thought. I didn't know that was ever like a thing with people. I mean, if I saw like nudity with my dad, it would just kind of just whatever. Now again, maybe it's because I really started noticing the female body from a very early age, because I don't even remember the VHS that I necessarily had that had boobs on it, because I remember, and this is going to sound a little strange, being actually a little...
Other things you say don't.
Yeah, well, broad spectrum here. Most of the things I say are kind of weird, but Betty Boop. You can remember the little cartoon animation?
Yep, I'm so glad you said Betty Boop.
What'd you think?
Where'd
you think that was going?
You went Betty, Boop.
Why is there always like there's beats between?
I don't know, man. But I was
holding
like,
dramatic for
like,
dramatic effect.
I was like, you're pacing.
Is he about to say Betty White from Golden Girls? Like, is that
what?
Is
that
what's about to
Betty
happen?
Crocker.
Betty Crocker.
You actually assembled the backs of the cake mix. There was a little hidden pornography in there.
Wow. Anyway,
yeah, Betty Boop.
Yeah. So I'm pretty sure my grandfather found Betty Boop like kind of risque, sexy little thing. Like
that was the point.
That was the point of Betty Boop.
Yeah, she was like in a little slip.
Yeah. One of the first things I ever really remember, and this was like registering like females in my mind. It was a animation of her being drawn and like her actually talking to the writer, and like she dunks herself in ink at one point to dress and dance as a hula girl, and I just remember getting the tingly feeling, and a lot of guys probably correlated this in the nether region, like, okay. And well, again, I was too young to really register that I was getting a boner, but I was definitely popping wood. And so yeah, that's where it started, and just ever since then, anytime I basically saw women, it was like, this is exciting, and it wasn't until...
Since you guys can't see, I'd like to share that when Sterling mentioned popping wood, he made a fucking air fist about the size of a soda can and squeezed it like his dick is just an elephant trunk. I just want to throw that out there. That was... That was his.
I just want to refer you to episode 3. Confidence.
Confidence.
I mean...
Anyway. So, yeah, but man. I definitely recall Starship Troopers. I mean, hell, I remember my first, pornography, which was an accidental viewing. I think I was young. That may have been like the first, like...
The Bear Wench Project.
The Bear Wench Project. And that was like an accidental viewing.
Mine was a Playboy, and I saved porn on a floppy disk.
Yeah.
And this is before I knew how to delete cookies in history. And I remember we had a family friend come over, and his son came in to my room to hang out. And the first thing he did, he was got on my computer. And I was like, okay. And it was like the family computer. And he got on the computer, and he just like immediately went through our history and cookies. And he's like, what the fuck is this? And it was just like, porn. And I was like, oh, that was porn. And he's like, let me show you. And he showed me how to delete my porn history and cookies. But like the sad thing is the kid's like 3 years younger than me.
Slow learners.
I guess yesterday's generation.
I mean,
it was a while back.
Also, you gotta understand people. Like, I was born 1990, so I grew up. Like, I remember getting our first computer in the house and being like, "What is this machine?"
Yeah, we were that cusp.
Yeah, like we were like we came up, like we were the kids coming up.
We had to discover.
We are legitimately the last generation that remembers the world without internet. Yeah.
Any internet. Yeah,
that's weird.
That's a weird concept. Yeah.
Like I brought it up before. Like I was having a conversation with a friend. We were watching the show Twin Peaks, and we were talking about it and discussing. Because I actually never seen the series until recently, and I was talking about it with her, and I was like, "Man, like, I don't know what I would have done," because the show came out in 1990 and 91. And I was like, I don't know what I would have done, like back in that time. Like I would have to. Like, you wouldn't know what the fuck was going on. Like, you'd be like, I don't know if you guys ever seen the series.
No.
It's David Lynch, who's also is a very abstract, very symbolic, like, person in his filmmaking. It's just all over. And so everything has symbolism and just, like, meaning. And if I didn't have, like, the internet to look up what the fuck, like, things meant, I would have been fucking pissed. Like, watching this show back in 1990 and having to go and be like, what is going on? Like, do you know what's going on? Like, I mean, I guess in a way, like, you would have to watch the show with other people and actually discuss it. But then, like, you couldn't discuss it with other people. Or, like, you couldn't go on, check it out, like, a year later and try to talk about it.
Log in to AOL.
Yeah, it's just different. I was going to ask you what your guys' old school AOL names are, but that's, like, too much.
Like I can fucking remember.
I know what mine is, because I use it still to this day, but I don't want to give it away because I don't want you losers finding me.
Ooh.
Ooh.
It wasn't cool though.
You didn't like my AOL name?
No, not yours, mine. Like,
I know what yours was. I remember it, unless it was something different before we met.
We'll have to talk about that.
I know. Cryptic.
I think we've mentioned this in the beginning, maybe episode 1 of this podcast. Not that that's so long from now where we currently stand, but I'm not entirely technologically savvy. And my two friends here happen to be. We had a computer for the longest time.
Wow.
I wanted nothing to do with that. I wanted...
Fuck, that was loud.
Was it?
Yes. I'm sorry, Sterling.
Sorry, we have limited.
Every time I turn around,
I kick interruptions.
And
anyway,
Jason just kicked the mic and it was very loud in my ear.
To be fair, I kicked the table.
Yeah.
The mic is on.
Anyway, so we had the computer for the longest time. That was the thing my mom used for like her business, and my dad would occasionally type things on. And they tried to get me on to like chat rooms and AOL stuff. I really didn't care. I didn't want to try. It's like, all right, that's cool. No, the computer skills is going to be really important. That's awesome. And then they brought him into schools, and I remember, every time like it's Math Blaster or a bunch of other games or typing on it, and I would literally sometimes sit there for like a half an hour while we were in the computer lab, like for class, and just be like, what the fuck do I do with this thing? I didn't even know how to turn it on. I had someone that had to show me how to turn it on. I was like, oh, well, cool. And eventually I figured out, Eventually I figured out how to play. It was a space game where you had to try and land a moon lander.
Fuck yeah, I love that game.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Everyone
you
loved
type in like words?
It wasn't words, it was mathematical formulas for us. And for one, I didn't really care for math. and then I really didn't care for computers. So I tried it, and I'm decent enough at the beginning math stages where it was fine. But then shit started to get really complicated to try and land the damn thing.
3 + 3.
No, not anything like that. I wish. It was just complex fractions and things of that nature, and I was like, nope. And it just literally, I shut down. That was just my reaction to that, because I'm like, these are two things I suck at and really don't enjoy, and so I would just end up staring blankly into space or at the computer in front of me for legitimately hours, and it was awful. And so that's how pretty much computers and I really interacted for the first several years of their existence. And my reactions with it.
The problem is you had shitty games, man.
Yeah, dude.
You didn't play Oregon Trail or
We did that
Lemmings.
live. What the fuck is Lemmings?
You never played Lemmings?
No. An Oregon Trail is something we did. We acted out and had to write stuff. There was no computers.
Nah, you had to do the electronic Oregon Trail.
What the fuck is that? I mean, I played it in the hospital when I was hospitalized as a kid, but that was about it.
It's Oregon Trail, but then it has the randomized stuff where it's like, oh, little Bobby got bit by a rattlesnake.
You died of dysentery.
Yeah, you died of dysentery. I don't know, it just has the RNG stuff that pops up. But Lemmings was a game where, and God, I haven't played it in fucking years. But so you play I guess there were lemmings with little people.
Okay.
That were called lemmings.
Yeah.
And they would walk around you had to stop them somehow. I don't remember how. With the environment, where they would walk off cliffs and stuff. And the idea was that they would walk in a straight line, and they hit something, they would bounce and turn around.
Okay.
And they would there was a group of them, and you had to get them to safety throughout this little obstacle course maze kind of thing. But
I probably would have enjoyed that as a child.
It was pretty fun. I don't remember how you would navigate, if you could make them jump or whatever. But yeah, they would all follow the one in the lead.
Yeah, let me tell you, we did not have that in the computer lab. So
that was awful.
That's my base. That's my distrust and dislike for computers. And also at that time, anytime I would hop on one and actually start to try and do things, it would practically blow up. And literally, I remember one time, it was at the end of the class, and the librarian and teacher were just perplexed at what had happened to this computer I was on. And literally, they then...
Was it full of jizz?
No.
I was going to say, downloading that porn.
Were you getting the tingle?
They didn't even have this... They didn't even have porn at the time. Come on, guys. And so literally, we're lined up outside of the computer lab and waiting, and I see the janitor literally carrying this computer I'd just been on out and taking it off to its grave. I'm like, that's it. I destroyed a piece of school property. I'm fucked. And as a little kid I was, that was terrifying to me. And
dude, that was an expensive break-in too for that kid.
Yeah.
Thanks to that, probably half of the kids didn't get lunch for the rest of the year because they had to repay for that
that's
computer.
not how it works. But anyway. That's right. But
anyway,
yeah.
You went there.
Yeah, man.
No. But anyway, so yeah, that's what kind of set me off on the course that led me to only now getting even somewhat competent at computers.
Stop real quick.
Yep.
We got way off topic for a second.
Yeah.
What was the original?
Okay, ready?
What was
ready?
the...
Starship Troopers. You got more and more naked as the movies went on.
That was
Gotcha.
First set of boobs was in the tent.
Hell of a tangent.
In Starship Troopers 2, during the makeout, there's a sex scene. You get full nude body before the
but you also get them in the shower. Remember when
you're in the shower.
You get 3 or 4 women.
Oh, in the
naked.
first movie, yeah.
Yeah, the first one. So and you get a lot of nudity and a lot of man ass.
Okay,
that was
guys.
thrilling this time.
Okay, guys.
That was not me.
Guys.
I have a
okay.
Yeah.
We just need to stop kicking the table.
We need a fucking better workspace.
Well, we need a better
okay,
workspace.
man. Fucking yeah. Let's fucking get some money and fucking get a dedicated room where I set up
some blood and semen.
Mics and fucking yeah, man.
We haven't tried it in my house yet.
How much one of these things cost? $5?
Yeah.
Well, I'll order some on Wish right now.
Fucking
yeah,
$5.
I'll Wish for a lot cheaper than you could get it. It's probably most of it's made in China.
Fucking $5.
Yeah, but then you have to wait 8 years for shipping and
yeah, man. Fucking just solid. $5.
Yeah.
Fucking just a fiver. Just throw down a Jefferson.
10 spot.
Wait, who's on the 5?
Jefferson?
I'll do 10. I'll get 2.
That's Lincoln. Man.
Lincoln.
Good God.
Abe Lincoln. That man.
Jefferson.
Hey, Lincoln?
Hey, Lincoln.
Another great movie.
And then in the third one,
I know.
there's a scene where they're all naked before they get into their robots. They're really bad CGI robots.
Really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's where that started at, if you were curious. But yeah, fucking, that was a 35-minute tangent, you guys. That was a new record.
Well, every time we went around the bloody table, someone introduced something, then we moved on to something else, and moved on to something else. It's brutal.
I'm telling you, man. Fucking Inception the shit out of that.
Yeah.
DiCaprio, call me if you want to do a sequel. We got this.
Really?
What?
I don't think it was that good a movie.
Fucking sequel, man. Is it a dream? Is it not? I don't know. That top's spinning before it ends.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That makes sense. All right. What are we actually going to talk about now?
Oh, so actually, I have several.
That's exactly the question you want to ask on a fucking podcast.
Yeah, it is.
What should we talk about now?
We left professionalism behind 35 minutes ago, so.
It's true.
Actually, for 35 minutes, we were actually doing pretty solid until there was a lull and the question, what should we talk about now?
What now, Trebek?
What now, Trebek? I fucked your mother, Trebek.
Okay. I have a couple of things I wanted to put on the table to discuss.
Okay. Put it on my table. Ania.
Firstly, so tipping.
Like with money?
Yes, with money.
Okay.
So,
I mean,
I don't like cows.
I was like, for some reason I was like giving tips, like.
It's just helpful.
Hey
advice.
man, have you ever gone out and tipped an audience? Like, oh, okay, so tipping.
Wow, that was okay.
I don't know.
Nice try, man. But all right.
Not a nice try. Like that's where my brain went.
At what point? Because I feel strongly about this. I don't recall if we ever talked about it, but it's good for the forum, anyways. At what point are our tips, asking for tips rude? So, for example, the story that comes to mind for me when I think about it is, for me, tipping is you do it as a courtesy for good service provided, right?
Yep.
And there are certain professions where it's expected and it's rude not to.
Mm-hmm.
And there are certain situations where you might do it if you get something above and beyond. It may or may not work, but maybe somebody volunteers to help you out with something really heavy at a Home Depot or something, right?
Yeah.
You're like, hey, thanks for the assistance, loading this lumber in my truck. You didn't maybe need to do that. You want $5, right?
But you're not supposed to
actually
accept tips,
technically, right? I worked at Home Depot, worked at Lowe's. They are just supposed to help you. They literally have dedicated people who are supposed to. And again, they're usually the hardest people to reach or to get to do their jobs.
Of course.
So that's a really the weak cog there. But so going out and helping someone, that's cool. Lifting a few bags. I usually count it anywhere under 10 bags of something or large pieces of something. That's no big deal. That's part of your job. But if they're out there and they help you load 2 pallets of lumber onto your truck, 10 concrete blocks, and they're hustling and they're moving the
There's
stuff.
definitely stuff that goes above and beyond.
Above and beyond, hell yeah! If you got a $5 spot or something cheaper, even $1, that's very nice of you.
I agree.
They're not allowed to accept it technically.
Right, and I did the same thing when I was at Bond. You're supposed to, as a bag boy, you're supposed to help people out.
Yeah.
Sometimes people will be like, "Hey, thank you for the hit." I'm like, I really can't. I apologize. But there are things where it's a nice gesture.
Yeah.
There are things where it's expected, and there are things where I'm like, "How fucking dare you ask me for a tip?" And the one that comes to mind was at a Pizza Hut. Mm-hmm. The one in I guess I don't know why I want to call anyone out. So Pizza Hut.
Put it on blast.
I mean, if we want them to sponsor us.
Oh.
I don't know that I want this one to sponsor us. So anyways, I went in to pick up a pizza.
Yep.
Because I was like, all right, cool. Don't want to pay. I'm already out and about. I'll just grab one on the way home.
Dude, if you're about to say what you're about to say, I'm already angry.
And they had a fucking tip jar on the counter. For the walk-in!
Nope.
I was like, what? How dare you? Literally, I'm giving you money for this product.
Yep.
So, I'm paying you for the service of preparing and supplying me a pizza. That is why I'm not getting a free pizza. But you've done nothing else to warrant
You made my pizza.
You've made my pizza, which is the reason you have money.
Yep.
You provided me the essential service to meet your salary, and keep your business running. You did nothing else for me. Take that shit off the counter.
Yeah, I mean it's even when you go to other restaurants and I don't know, like a Mexican joint or something where you get like a burrito, and they print out the receipt, and on the receipt it has like a tip line, and then it has like your total amount inside. I'm like, I always put a circle or like a line through the tip line. I'm like, I'm sorry, like I came here to get it. Like it'd be different if you came and were like waiting on me and like in fresh, like I'm like, yeah, cool, but yeah, at the same time, like I don't know.
So you guys don't throw like a buck in anytime there's like a tip place or like a walk-in restaurant? Really?
Nope.
No, because again, they've done nothing above and beyond. There's nothing unusual about it. Now, had I sat down and they brought me the food, like they do at Rubio's, for example, they have a tip thing at Rubio's, but they're like, hey, here's your number, we'll bring you the food, check in on you maybe sometime, like, hey, how's everything going, right? Like, I've been waited on now.
Yeah.
You have done something for me. Giving me food is the reason I fucking paid you.
Yeah.
And if you just pass me a bag of food and like, here you go, you've earned the money for the food, not a tip. That is your job, is to prepare and give me this food at cost, which I've done.
It's like, it was like when I was in retail. It's like, it's my job to go up to customers, ask if they're finding everything okay, ask them if I can, find different items of clothing that I think would go with their items that they're looking at, and just going above and beyond to help them find their outfit so they can get out and have a good experience. But it's not like after the end of it, after they paid me for the clothes and everything, I'm like, oh, and if I could get a tip for helping you on the floor today. I'm just like, no, like our big things, we had surveys. So I was just like, hey, like if you have 10 minutes or 5 minutes, go online, and if you really enjoyed my service, like just say a good comment about me, like it helps. And that's pretty much it. But yeah, like I wouldn't expect like a tip.
Yeah, and this is not to say that I don't like tipping.
Yeah.
I feel like I tip pretty well. My average tip is like the low end is probably like 18-20%.
Wow.
Like,
yeah, no, I'd agree with that.
I like to tip generously when you've done something to earn that tip. I do not like to be asked to tip when you've done nothing for me besides like the service.
What's if you're comfortable saying, what's the lowest you've ever tipped?
I think I actually legitimately tipped like 3 cents at one point.
Mm-hmm.
I have not tipped before. I mean, someone has literally, I've been like ignored, and this wasn't even a food relation thing. That's a completely separate issue. Like, I do not, and people have a tendency to do this. They tend to blame their servers for the food, and sometimes they can only they can control so much. But realistically, people look at it. Your server, they can't control what the fuck the kitchen's doing.
No,
and sometimes the kitchen fucks up. That's the honest truth of it. They are trying to do the best they can for you, the customer, and if they're trying to take care of you, you have to be understandable. Don't stiff them. I know you're seeing it as, well, if I stiff them, tip them, they can't tip out the kitchen too. But, you're still stiffing the poor server who had nothing to do with it, who's just trying to do their job to the best of their ability, and who relies on that tip money for a better portion of their salary, to be perfectly honest. Like, yeah, they make money, but to be honest, most servers, in at least the United States and a lot of the world over, they rely very heavily on those tips for, their actual, like, income. Mm-hmm. Neither here nor there. But yeah, so that's a tough one. I'd never actually thought about it before. I think it's just a conditioning thing. Like, oh, people leave out a tip thing, I drop $1 in there without even really thinking about it. Or I try to help out. Like, me, especially, like, as you guys know, I frequent the subway that is, like, half a mile from my house. A lot. I've gotten to know the people there. They know my order. They see me walking like, hey, we'll get your sandwich ready. And then, we chit chat and they make exactly my specifications.
Sidebar, I think Sterling is like single-handedly keeping them alive. His sandwich is like $15.
Seriously, it is.
Like,
it is a hefty order.
It is a cumbersome order. And I've seen you tip at that Subway before.
Yeah.
But with that said,
you have an unusually complicated order.
They go above and beyond to make sure your order is right, because you are very particular about your order.
They do all that.
Yeah.
So I go through a random Mexican food restaurant, like, here's your California burrito, and I'm like, thank you, that's why I paid you. Carry on.
That makes sense. I'll be honest, I didn't even think about it, but yeah, that's just a conditioning thing to think, oh, everyone deserves a tip. We live in a society where we think everyone deserves something when you really don't deserve much. You get paid a salary and that's it. And if you work harder and you try your best, then you can work your way to getting something. It's like they say, the world doesn't technically owe you anything.
Yeah,
but
it's like how everyone gets participation ribbons. Like,
oh, good God,
it's
don't
like,
get me started.
No, man, not everyone did a great job. Fucking Jimmy was a fat ass and never like blocked a single goal because he just sat on the floor picking grass. Like, He doesn't deserve a trophy.
Rewind for a second. So, I mentioned you said I tipped 3 cents. You tipped nothing at one point. You just didn't tip. Thomas, what was the lowest you ever tipped?
Yeah, what's yours low?
I've never tipped before. Just been like, you know what?
So,
sorry, lady, you fucked up.
So I have an interesting thing about that, and I don't know how accurate this is, but my dad had mentioned at one point, and that was why I tipped 3 cents. Was that is supposed to be the most insulting tip that you can leave somebody.
Well, I heard
when you're angry, or 2 cents. I'm sorry.
I heard it was a penny.
A penny.
Heads up or heads down or something. Like,
so the thing that I heard about that is that I'm sorry, 2 cents, not 3 cents.
Yeah.
But so the thing I heard about that is that leaving no tip could be like misconstrued as like potentially like, oh, like maybe they just have money, they're cheapskate, whatever, they never tip.
Yeah.
Leaving 1 penny can be construed as they left that behind because they didn't want to keep 1 penny.
Yeah.
But leaving 2 pennies says I deliberately left you a shit tip.
Yeah.
And that's why it's called like, this is my 2 cents. And that's where that phrase came from.
That's
because it's deliberate to be like, look, like I didn't, you just left on the table. I left you 2 cents because that's me putting in my 2 cents. That was like a crappy job.
You know, also it'd be
so
kind
that was why like when I was really upset. Like I don't remember what the situation was, but I was like, this is awful. Yeah. I think it was like 45 minutes before we even got like a drink order in, and I was like, okay, cool, like, you know, here you go.
Yeah, so again, the situations where I left 0 was a time when once I got up to use the restroom, and like I guess my mom and sister did like shortly thereafter as well, and they literally took our full plates away. And they also stole like my mom's gold pin that she'd gotten from
Jeez.
Yeah, and so we was like, nope. And like, oh, well, here's your receipt. Like, no, you better keep that. So that was one situation. And again, that was a family situation. And another time, we waited like an hour to get any kind of service. And we got our order in, and we finally got drinks. And it was like, and then she disappeared again. And we finished our drinks, and we literally just walked out. And so again, we didn't pay for an entire meal. It's almost like that bad. I don't want to mention the restaurant per se, because at some point I would certainly like to go back, and heck, I would certainly like them to endorse this or maybe chat with us sometime. But yeah,
it could have been a bad night.
It could have been a bad night, and you know, I certainly feel bad that that oftentimes comes out of the service money, depending on the restaurant. And so I feel bad about something like that, but it was atrocious.
It's brutal. But going back to the 2 cents also,
yeah, so.
It can also be taken as like, here's your 2 cents to cross the river of Nix. Like, go fuck yourself.
Really?
Like, go die.
That's a little.
That's pretty morbid.
I know.
Did you know? But it's 2 gold pieces to cross the river.
It's not 2 copper pieces?
No, 2 gold.
2 gold.
I always thought it was copper.
No, never copper. Copper's.
They didn't. Yeah, they didn't really.
I mean,
Copper was
they
a big
bronze
thing in Greek time, but anyways.
Yeah. It's 2 gold or 2 silver.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But so you're just saying it's like a movie fantation then, that it's always been 2 pennies
For what?
to cross the river Nix.
It's never been.
To pay the ferryman.
It's 2 gold.
I'm gonna look it up right now.
You
You guys discuss something else.
But yeah, it's like.
Well, I mean, keep in mind too, like
Like about a movie, or
the phrase like a penny hasn't always been copper either.
Yeah.
Right.
Like, you could have had a gold penny. It's just it's a low denomination.
Yeah.
Of funds, and in this case, in the States, we decided like those are going to be copper coated.
Yeah.
Plated? I don't know.
Pennies are useless.
They are useless.
more.
Canada got rid of them.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
Someone else did too, but yeah, Canada, their lowest one is 10 or 5. I don't know, but yeah, they just did away with pennies, which I appreciate.
I know.
They get away.
Most European places actually use a lot more coin money, so it makes sense to keep it. We're such a paper money kind of society that coin money is not as big, I think.
Yeah, but I don't know.
Like purely coins. Like they have $20 pieces and $50 pieces all the way down to like a few cents.
Yeah, I would be totally fine rounding up, or down by 5s. Like that's not a big deal for me.
True enough, yeah.
Where I'm like, I'm just gonna probably throw away the pennies. I just don't hang on to them. You do though.
I do. My family does though. My mom, actually my grandfather's family, and again they're Italian, and so it's at some points
Italian.
Yeah, at some points again very poor. And when they came to America it was shortly before the Depression and everything, and so keeping pennies was always just a thing. But then for my grandparents it was always just they kept the pennies, and anytime they felt they got enough, they would cash them in. They would give the money to my mom and her brother.
Yeah.
And same thing for my dad's family. Anytime my dad would collect his pennies and cash them in to go buy a toy and do stuff of that nature. So
yeah, I helped you cash in a 5-gallon jug
of pennies and change,
and we got like $85 back or something from it.
Oh yeah.
And that's after the cut from the machine.
Yeah, that's like a 20% cut too. But yeah, we would, make a little money. It's fun sometimes. And then my family, we, at this point, we just consider it mad money. So after we collect enough and the damn thing weighs so much we can hardly carry it, we go cash it in and then we go spend it on something.
Oh God, speaking of, when I helped you another time, when you had a fucking 3-gallon Ziploc bag, and it ripped open.
Oh yeah,
on the floor of a Vaughn's. And we were standing in the doorway, and I was scooping up with a cup.
Yep.
And we were trying to, and you had $105 worth of change that I was just grabbing off the floor. My hands have never felt dirtier.
Yeah, literally probably the raunchiest thing I've ever taken part in.
I'm just scooping up money and in the produce section of the doorway of Vaughn's. So a million feet have walked past here.
Yep.
We just finished up and I'm let me go home so I can wash my hands up to the elbows.
Hey, at least I split it with you.
Yeah, I know. I got a good cut. It was worth $40, whatever it was, to be all right, here you go.
Yeah.
But yeah, I was just what the fuck? I was just sitting there crisscross applesauce. Just
picking
scooping up
everything
change.
up.
Here you go. Yeah, it was good. Good times. Mm-hmm. Especially towards the end, I had to grab each one off the ground and try to put them in a cup because they were all laying flat in the ground. And I couldn't scoop
pennies are kind of infuriating.
They are. I was how worth it is this last $5 worth of change?
It's worth it.
And then I was I'm already down here. We've already been doing this for 15 minutes. I am free the rest of the day. Let's just finish this out.
Is it.
So I've got a couple of different answers, interesting ones. So there is either 2 silver or 2 gold coins on the eyes, but also someone wrote 2 cents, the cost for knowledge kind of thing. I was oh, that's kind of interesting. And then someone also said it's more about representation, that the coin is to show preparedness to enter into afterlife. So just having a coin.
Any 2 coins.
Yeah, having a coin in general to pay the ferryman.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I found.
Okay, well, yeah, that's cool. Again, I just go from the mythos that I know.
Yeah. Okay, so transitioning onto a similar topic
Of
from the tipping stuff.
Okay.
Okay. Yeah.
Poor service.
Going down this rabbit hole.
I just want to talk about complaints and at what point what does it take you to get to a point where you complain? For example, another story of mine that happened recently. I ordered a couple of t-shirts online, and I was told great, here's your confirmation, and there are little things saying, hey, your order has shipped. Here's our tracking info. Please allow 5 business days for them to, because they're manufactured individually, and then they will, another 5 business days for them to get to you. Here's a UPS tracking number so you can keep an eye on it. So great. And so I ordered them on August 12th. August, 17th was when I got the confirmation saying your order has shipped.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. And then 5 days went by and I'm let me check on that. Because I checked the shipping the day I got the email. It's notification of pre-shipping. We got the order from the warehouse, whatever. They should be, we haven't picked them up yet, but they're ready to be picked up, whatever. Checked it in a week later, same thing. I was okay, says up to 5 days for manufacturing.
Yeah.
I'll check back in.
It's just kind of sitting there.
Yeah. Waited another 5 days, and then checked it. Still the same thing. Waited another 5 days, and finally I was it's been almost 4 weeks now.
Yeah, it's almost been a month.
And it still says free shipping. So then I emailed them and they responded right away like, hey, we're so sorry. Looks like they got like set aside and kind of like misplaced in the warehouse. We have gone ahead and given along. You should be receiving them shortly. And I'm gonna check. I haven't actually looked. I just got that email I think earlier today or yesterday. So I want to see if it's updated. But it took me. I waited. I was like, okay, like I don't want to. I'm gonna get the shirts eventually.
Yeah.
Like I paid for them. Worst case scenario, I'll ask for a refund. Like whatever. But
you're gonna get them.
But I'm gonna get them or my money back. So like it's a reputable company. Like I'm not ordering them from like a private seller or something. So it's gonna be okay. And it was like a $25 purchase. It wasn't anything that broke the bank. But eventually I got to that point where I'm like I gotta complain. Like I gotta figure this out. What does it take for you guys to reach that point? Like what's your threshold?
Well, for me, it depends on the setting. Now, as I will openly admit to, I do a lot of ordering on Amazon.
A lot.
To death, yes. So now I've learned that they're pretty accurate, pretty reliable. And so if a day or two roll by and I have not received the package and they've stated that it's been delivered, I'm sending off an email. And it's still polite. Again, I don't see the point in being rude unless it's really called for. I mean, if you're going to challenge me to the point where I need to get rude on something, then it's wow. We've really taken some strange strides at this point. You've poked the proverbial bear here. But yeah, so just polite like, hi, just curious if my package actually got delivered. I haven't received it yet. If you could just let me know, that would be great. Thank you so much. Sign off, Sterling Morris. And I'll wait for a response, and that's totally fine. I understand, like, anything can take up to a week. That's valid. But I like to check. And as they say, the squeaky wheel gets the grease. Or the squeaky cog gets the grease, whatever the saying happens to be. And that's true. And so I try to avoid things. I'm pretty laid back, and I'm not in a particular rush for most things, so it takes a great deal for me to get to that point where I have to like complain or like get active about some things. But like, say I was in a restaurant and it's been like 20-30 minutes, I will definitely start casting my eye out there to like try and catch someone's eye. Like, hey, I understand you're busy, it's a full place, but I'd like to get some service. So just be aware of my existence. So at least make eye contact with me, so I know that I'm alive here and would like some service. But again, maybe that means I'm jumping on the gun a little too fast. That's what it feels like for me is an appropriate amount of time. Whether there is or not, I'm not entirely sure. But again, it takes a lot for me to like get to the point where I need to complain about something. I can even get they can give me the wrong food, and most of the time I don't. As long as I'm getting fed, I'm generally okay with it, unless it's something awful.
Yeah, I don't know. I'm a pretty mellow guy, so I mean, unless it's like Sterling said, something totally out there or like I know is wrong, while I like say something, or it's just. But most of the time, I don't know. I just think about it like it's a more trouble than it's worth kind of thing. Like in your case, it's like, I'll eventually get it or I'll get a refund. Like, I don't know. Most of the times what I do with complaining is like, it's things that I know that are wrong that I'm like, that I'll pick my fight and I'm like, no, actually, it's this, and stuff like that. But for the most part, I'm pretty easygoing. I don't really like to, I'll bitch about it later, but it's more of like, when people who bitch behind closed doors because they're like, oh, fuck this, but, I don't do anything about it because in the long run, it doesn't really affect me that much.
I like things to get done. And again, I don't, let's say, I don't, picking your fights very well and good depending on the situation, but I will ever, like, wait or think that I don't need to, like, at least stick up about it.
So when it comes to that point of complaining, is your goal to just get the situation resolved, or is it to just kind of be heard? Like at what point? Like I don't know. As part of my job, I take a lot of complaint calls.
Yes.
I run a team of like phone agents. And so things escalate when they get to the supervisor level, and I have to handle it. And I work in the insurance industry, so a lot of people don't realize how extraordinarily regulated that industry is, and that like there are things that we can and things that we cannot do, and all of these issues that come to me are just things that we can't do because it's just like it's outside of our control. It's not a rule of my company. It is a rule of the industry.
Sure, yeah.
Right. The law.
Right. Like the California Department of Insurance has said to get X whatever you have to meet these criteria, and we can't change that. And people don't realize that though, because it's very different than going into like a retail store, for example, and being able to be like,
because in retail you get a lot of complaints as well.
Your product,
yeah,
that you manufacture and you decide how much it sells. You know, not necessarily you, the supervisor, but like that company.
Yeah. Because
are we still picking up a lot of the airplane?
I think it's our first thing.
Yeah,
but,
it has been a while.
But if you're playing at home, this is our first shot. So please take a shot if you're drinking. But yeah, no.
But it is very different, and so I a lot of times I don't have that ability to say I'm gonna make an exception. I'm gonna get stuff done. If it's something out of our control. Now, if it's something that's like, look, we messed up or whatever, or a Geico rule, then that is something that we might look at on a case by case basis. But it isn't necessarily something that I have any ability to change over the person you originally spoke with. So I'm just curious about that because it's become such a big part of my life is talking and trying to interact with people and let them know like this is what I can and can't do kind of thing.
See, my goal anytime I'm complaining or fighting about something, I either want resolution or clarification. So even with people, having a discussion with someone, and if it necessarily gets heated, I bring this up because it seems to happen a lot with like my parents per se. We have differing points on things. So if I have a different point and we're arguing back and forth about it, it's like, all right, that's cool. If we can't reach any sort of like resolution about things, because Lord knows I'm not going to necessarily be able to change someone else's mind, and that's fine. I understand that. They don't necessarily, but I understand that. But I then want clarification. I want to understand where you're coming from, where you found this. So if I can't resolve something, I do want it clarified. And if we reach there, I'm a rational person. I will do my best to understand, and if you explain it well enough and give me like reasons behind something, I want reasons. That's what I drive for. I want reason and reasons.
So you might complain if a situation didn't make sense to you.
Exactly.
Like if you were like, look, I my bill is normally whatever X, this month it's Y. I haven't changed anything. I haven't been late on payments. Like, what happened?
Exactly.
And there might not be a magical, we just messed up. It might be like, look, this service, had a year or whatever, and then the deal ended, and it's part of this, whatever. So this is what happened. But you then are educated, and you understand the perspective, and you can walk away as long as it makes sense.
Exactly.
You can walk away happy.
Yeah, and I'd be happy. And now,
is that being a form of like? That's not even a form of complaining. Like I feel like when you complain, it's something where you're like actively like, "Hey man, you fucked up. Fix this." That I feel like clarification is like using your example of bill payment or something. It's just like, "Hey, just want to know what's going on. I just noticed this." Like I don't even feel like it's a complaint. That's like an inquiry at best.
Like, yeah. But sometimes it gets escalated. It's like, I don't understand. I don't understand your explanation.
Yeah. No,
I want to complain like to someone higher.
Yeah.
And then sometimes it's like, look, like this is what happened. I can't change the bill.
This is
slam fist. Make it make fucking sense.
No, I have working as a manager in retail in my past life. Yeah, you have definitely those rules where it's like, what do you mean you can't take this back? Well, I'm like, well, clearly it's been washed. And it's like, I wash my clothes before I try them on. I'm like, well, unfortunately, we cannot return washer-worn items. It says that right there on the receipt for our return policy. And they're like, well, I want to speak to someone. I'm like, well, this is me. This is who you're talking to. I'm letting you know. And she's like, well, just no one else. I'm like, no,
we'll talk.
I'm sorry, like, and then they just leave. I'm like, okay, like, I'm sorry, like, I explained it to you, you didn't understand, and you still choose to be angry. And like, those are the moments where you just have to kind of shrug it off, I guess, and like, be like, people, like, just want to complain or just want to, like, think if they, like, we were kind of talking about earlier about how people in society feel entitled to always get something. And I feel I feel like we are in a society right now where people feel like if they complain enough, if they speak out enough, if they, basically throw temper tantrums enough, then they get what they want. And I don't know, I feel like that's not true where,
realistically
that's not how society works. And I feel like it's kind of sad that a lot of people think that's how things work in this day and age, where it's no, actually, there's rules, there's laws, there's it's just everyday life, man. You just gotta accept it, and today you lost.
Yeah.
Today is not your day. Yeah. But
rage and rail against things. By all means, go right ahead and do so. Just understand that sometimes that's not going to change things.
And there's stuff in the world where, there is stuff that you should complain about and stuff that you should be angry about, in the world, for sure. But it's at the end of the day, do you really want to sit there and complain and yell at this waiter who, like you said earlier, has no control over your food? You want to complain at them and be like, well, there's I said the dressing on the side and, it's on my salad. Do you really want to take 5 minutes out of your day to get upset and angry and then yell and take it out on another human being who's going to make themselves feel bad? That's just a bad chain reaction. Why not take that energy, and be like, hey, ask for dressing on the side. Either can I please get taken back or, something different. But not yell. Just calmly explain the situation. Most people tend to be more accommodating, too, when you're not in their face complaining and being reasonable, I don't know.
No, it's true.
That old saying, you catch more flies with sugar than
with honey
and vinegar. And the vinegar. Yeah. Oh, but yeah.
Yeah, so it's interesting because we were kind of talking about that and just
just kind of went into it for sure.
When you get to that point, are you trying to rectify, get educated, or just complain to get free stuff?
Yeah,
because I see the people
and
they're just look, if I. Not just in my job either, but just in general.
Yeah.
I know people in my friend group or something who are oh, if I complain, maybe they'll take an item off my food or something.
Yeah, because
why do you live like that?
Yeah. Because they're under the mindset of if you complain enough, I get what I want, or blah blah blah. And that was a big thing too about our store manager. He'd be there are certain circumstances where, we can be a little bit lenient on the rules, but you can't spread it around because then people expect it exactly. They feel entitled. So yeah. But at that, I think it's a good stopping point for episode 4 of Chubby Cat, you guys. We made it. We are officially
congratulations,
four
everyone.
episodes deep, 1 month down. If you have been listening, I don't know, let's say 25 episodes. If you have been listening since 25, when we get to 25, but you've been listening since episode 1, then you're an OG Chubby.
OG Chubby.
Yeah, So if you've been listening since episode 1, thank you for listening. Please check out our website, chubbycat.net, for future podcasts, future projects, and all that good stuff. If you liked this podcast, please rate and subscribe on iTunes. Like I said, we're still relatively new at this. Still working out the kinks and all that good stuff. So we love feedback. If you would leave us a comment, let us know how we can improve.
Yay, kinks.
Bring it all the way back to sex. Wow, full circle, you guys. And check us out on Twitter at chubbycat Inc. Yeah, that's our Twitter. Probably should know that, but that is what our Twitter is. You can email us at chubbycatinc@gmail.com. Any questions, inquiries, anything, we'll read them. Fan
Jokes.
mail. Yeah, jokes. Maybe we'll have a joke segment and best joke of the week. Get something. I don't know. But yeah, that's pretty much it, you guys. Thank you again. And also, please share. Pass us along to your friends and family and your grandmother who lives in the nursing home and doesn't have anything to do but slowly wither away and die, needs some brightness in her life. So give her a nice chubby cat to listen to.
God.
That got dark.
Wow.
Yeah, man. I took it there. What are you going to do about it? You guys, I had a really good sign-off for this episode involving porn, and now I can't think of it. So I'm gonna say it's not the size that matters; it's how you use the chub. Stay chubby, guys.
It's becoming stay chubby. God damn it!
I feel like we just stay chubby, my friend. Is like, last week's stay chubby, my friend, just comes back to my head because it's just like, stay chubby, my friend. Like that's just what plays in my head. I don't know.
Fuck.
And then you just have like a little fat
Click
cat.
it off, Dana.
Like,
Click it
little,
off.
like a little fat cat just saying,
Okay.
stay chubby, my friend. I don't know.